If you think about any of your favorite games, there are moments that stand out. I think of Breath of the Wild and how the first few moments create this incredible sense of mystery and adventure. And then Tears of the Kingdom achieves an almost identical thing, but adds even greater layers of dread and urgency on top of it. In their opening moments, as well as the adventures they set us on, these games create experiences that stay with us for a long time. But some games take a bit longer to create lasting impact and sometimes even require intentionality from us in order to feel their impact to the fullest. Multiplayer and co-op titles are able to achieve something else that very few other genres can replicate: a deep sense of togetherness or closeness to the people we care about the most. So this isn't some kind of professional study, but it's just some of my thoughts on how I've seen games create these lasting moments that make us feel seen, close, and understood. My wife and I each started our own files in Stardew Valley for the first time in December. Having already played so many other games cooperatively over the years and knowing Stardew's acclaim, we wanted to each play through our own individual files, so it really is a surprise to me that it ended up being a main point for me in a video about playing cooperatively. As we both share an office with our gaming setups, even though we were playing individually, rarely did it actually feel that way. Each time we sat down to continue our journey of gaining riches and friendship, we would often wait to start until we were both in the same PlayStation party. Quickly, we began to love our evenings telling each other our daily plans, quests we were making progress on, and asking each other for tips or advice. As it was our first time exploring everything in the vast stretches of Stardew Valley, the experience we had in sharing all the newness and discovery felt similar to talking to my friends and learning where they went and what they did once first getting the paraglider and leaving Breath of the Wild's Great Plateau. In a similar way, as we continued to play, we of course progressed at our own pace, prioritized different things, and each uncovered different secrets hidden in the valley at different times. The game's interwoven narratives, side quests, and items are all so well done and at times so well hidden that discovering a new place or solving a puzzle feels like you stumbled across something that almost wasn't intended for you to find. Games like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and Minecraft, where rest, creativity, and personal expression thrive, each feature tasks that take a good deal of time to complete. Because of this, the payoff and delayed gratification of completing these long-term goals feels extremely rewarding, even if the actual in-game reward isn't anything that spectacular. And this is what many of you probably already knew, but something my wife and I were just now discovering in playing it for the first time. Stardew Valley was excelling at creating connection because of the world, the gameplay loop, and also the ability to express ourselves. The activities to complete, places to go, relationships to keep up, and every other single thing in the game is so rewarding that it demands to be shared.
Oh, Emily is Haley's sister? What a twist. I thought it was her mom.
The time it takes to progress and the thrill of discovery both go a long way to make you feel proud of the things you accomplish, and playing next to each other only intensified this feeling of satisfaction and reward. As I would reach a new level in the mines, fight monsters, and complete some of the Adventure Guild tasks, at the same time, my wife would spend days on her farm maximizing profit from pumpkins or from her artisan goods. Although a very different gameplay experience, the player agency in Stardew Valley continued to evoke the same feelings of the open-air Zeldas, of the game living outside of the screen through talking with my sister and my friends about our individual experiences. These games, their worlds, and sharing our time in them with others, even if not playing on the same screen, provides real connection and opportunity for our relationships to grow. My wife and I didn't play Stardew Valley as multiplayer, but we still experienced it together. Being in different worlds doesn't demand separation, but rather it fosters connection and shared interest. You can essentially play a game together with someone even if you aren't playing the exact same thing or even in their world. This idea, although simple, can still be a challenging way for growth to occur. Although games act as the catalyst for conversation and connection, it's our job to bring it all up with our friends. Seeking these opportunities out is often fun when they're the things we're excited to share, but the intentionality comes in listening, being present, and engaging with the other's interests, especially if they differ from our own. Patience and empathy are suddenly a priority, and in a world of TikTok, scrolling, and horribly short attention spans, slowing down and listening can be really tricky. But it's important because when these things are intentional, when we do give our time and attention, I can't think of a better way to show the people we care about that we love them. Kingdom Two Crowns is a game where so much of the experience comes from learning it, being the perfect example of how games that have seemingly unspecified objectives, or ones that start off mysterious, work towards bringing us together. Set out on a 2D side-scrolling world with a rapid day and night cycle, you play as the ruler of your kingdom. By hiring workers and giving them a role, you slowly begin to grow your army, your builders, or your farmers. Each role completes a different task on your island, and each is crucial to improving your kingdom so that when night arrives, the enemies, the greed outside your walls becomes less and less of a threat. Since each full day in-game only lasts around 4 actual minutes, the gameplay loop of expanding your walls on either side of your kingdom ends up being the greatest challenge in the game, and with each night becoming progressively more intense, time and resources all quickly factor into the decisions you make. It's equally challenging as it is fun, making decisions with my wife on whether or not to make a mad dash at sunrise to secure a new wall to the left or to the right. If we expanded to the right, we'd unlock a new farm location, a key tool in producing gold and growing our kingdom. But if we were to expand to the left, we could get the upgrade for our builders, meaning that any task we begin for the rest of our playthrough would be completed more efficiently. While doing both at the same time would be ideal, the game's Blood Moon mechanic begins to be something you need to take into consideration when attempting to expand. A Blood Moon functions differently than a normal night cycle, making it the single most fearful in-game event. While each normal night cycle brings equal strength enemies to each side of your kingdom and then leaves you alone at daybreak, a Blood Moon turns night into a horde-like survival that focuses the greed intensity all on one side of your kingdom, effectively doubling its lethality. It's a high-stakes event whose reward matches its risk, a blue moon signaling the absence of a greed attack for one night, meaning you have 2 full in-game days or around 8 uninterrupted minutes without any threat to your kingdom. Where the normal day and night cycle brings urgency that factors into your short-term daily decisions, like how far you can run and gather chests out beyond your walls, and how many upgrades you're able to implement in one day, the presence of a Blood Moon acts as a threat that influences your long-term plans, such as deciding which side to prioritize and how to allocate your defenses. As the game progresses, you unlock more and more options for dealing with Blood Moons, like stacking all your defenses to just one side, hiring pikemen, and using fire. But in all of our progress, the presence of a Blood Moon still required my wife and I to strategize, often meaning one of us leaving our half of the kingdom to aid the other in establishing better defenses and preparing. Blood Moon or not, the game demands communication. With a limited amount of time and resources, it's essential to talk about what building projects we've started, how many builders we've hired, and what we plan on doing the moment the bells signal daytime. These many unexplained mechanics can feel stressful when someone first approaches the game. It's easy to feel like you can't keep up with the constant changes and twists of the gameplay loop. But this is exactly how Kingdom Two Crowns excels in creating these moments where closeness is created. My wife and I only knew how to deal with the threats of this game by losing over and over again. Only after attempt and attempt did we start figuring out how all the mechanics in the game work together and how we could use them to succeed. Games that have hidden mechanics or objectives that aren't always clear-cut from the start are often the games that represent what working together in real life usually feels like. Yes, there are seasons and stretches and moments in our relationships where we're each thriving and doing well on our own fronts, but in my experience, in my own relationships and my own friendships, the relationships that have ground to them, the ones that are so valuable, are often the ones that look a whole lot like the moments Kingdom Two Crowns creates so well. They're ones that are made through learning together, but more importantly, they're ones where time is often spent helping each other. Our relationships that exemplify this are often the ones that feel the most restful. The weight of expectations is lifted when we realize that in realistic relationships, we won't constantly be impressing each other all the time. We will mess up, that will keep happening, but like running back and forth across our silly little pixel island, growth happens through time spent learning how to tackle things together. I think Split Fiction contains some of the most engaging moments in co-op gaming. I'm sure you've seen this game, but if you haven't, it follows Mio and Zoe, writers who, in attempting to be published, end up in their own worlds as a new way to experience storytelling. Many of the greatest moments in this game come from how different they are and how they're forced to work together despite it. Mio loves sci-fi and Zoe adores fantasy. Mio is cold and blunt and Zoe craves relationships and authenticity. And Hazelight capitalized on their differences in more ways than just interests and personalities. When it came to the roles Mio and Zoe played in solving puzzles and traversing through the worlds, the tools my wife and I were given complemented each other while being different enough for us to have unique roles in completing various tasks in progressing. However, not every level was like this. One of Mio's sci-fi worlds featured a set of dual-wielding plasma guns that could both shoot standard bullet-like projectiles as well as energy bombs. Both of these tools were used in combat as well as in interacting with the environment to solve puzzles. In this level in particular, I found that I would often see the solution to a puzzle slightly before my wife did, and because we each shared the same ability, there was little reason for me not to share what I thought we needed to do in order to move forward. This meant that through levels like these, my wife was sometimes left feeling like she was just along for the ride. I would ask her to stand in a certain place or show her the object to shoot, and in a co-op experience, while more than likely one of the two players will have more experience than the other, each player contributing equally to progressing should be a focus, something levels like these, although enjoyable in their own way, naturally lack. Many of the other levels in the game became more interesting, however, when our abilities were opposing, as this provided the most depth to the puzzles and traversal.
Oh, we have to do it timed. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Although there are really satisfying moments that can come from using the same ability together, I really enjoy this role-based co-op gameplay more, as each having a unique responsibility and completing the challenges placed in front of you tends to offer a more unique team-oriented approach. In one of Zoe's fantasy worlds, I played as Mio, who is befriended by a spirit-like creature that can illuminate areas and create physical platforms, while Zoe's spirit could use a force-like ability to push and pull platforms or objects in the world. As we progressed through the level, my wife began to master using Zoe's blue spirit as I was learning the ins and outs of Mio's. This meant that frequently when challenges came up that required we both use our abilities in cohesion, we each had to solve our own portion of the puzzle. There were occasional moments where she would point out something I missed in my half of the puzzle, or I would do the same for her, but for the majority of these experiences, we each excelled in our own very different but equally as crucial roles. Our differences in abilities, tasks, or responsibilities gives a greater weight to our actions in games. If I don't complete my part in our objective, nobody else will. Suddenly, there's a greater sense of value to my presence. If I mess up, the level won't just continue moving on, affecting my wife in the process. In this way, the environment around me, the obstacles, the challenge, and even the value of my presence all invite pressure. Pressure is productive to our relationships because without it, it's too easy to grow comfortable. Being comfortable isn't bad, but I've noticed that it's held me back from experiencing my own relationships in sometimes the most impactful or meaningful ways.
Wait, so you're telling me everything we just went through wasn't inspired by anything?
Nope.
I don't believe you. I don't care. Well, I kind of do.
Why? You don't know me.
Without any pressure, it's easy to neglect moving closer, and as a result, I've sometimes noticed myself falling away from the things that matter most to me. But for Mio and Zoe, through their own fictional worlds, they experience real emotions, and through challenge after challenge, this pressure creates moments of vulnerability.
I feel trapped. It's like I'm lost in the dark. I don't know what to do.
Who wouldn't be overwhelmed by it all? It makes you human.
Pressure is challenging. The feeling of being stretched, grown, and matured in our relationships is hard.
Zoe!
It's far easier to remain closed off and comfortable, but through their relationship, we see the product of pressure.
You okay?
Yeah,
Seeing pressure and taking the intentional step into it is challenging, even if we know there's value on the other side.
We can stay a bit more if you want.
And there's pressure in our role, but that's good because it means we're playing a big part in helping someone else move forward.
No. I'm okay, let's continue.
It's one of the most difficult aspects of our relationships, but if we allow it...
Mio? Thanks.
Challenge, stress, and helping the other person move forward are often the most productive ways in creating genuine and lasting connection.
This is beautiful, Mio.
Some nights, I force myself to zoom out.
Zoom out.
The bigger the trouble, the bigger the zoom. It helps me see how insignificant some of my worries are.
Huh. Does it work?
It gives me some perspective. And enough room to breathe.
You do know there is no oxygen in space, though, right?
Now hold on.
It's been a while since I've enjoyed playing multiplayer games as much as I've enjoyed playing Rivals and Fortnite. I didn't play either of these games with the intention of putting them in a video, but it would feel weird not to mention them with how much I've seen them create connection in my relationships. In Rivals, one of my best friends has taken it up as his great responsibility to one-trick Spider-Man. And while I haven't one-tricked Magic, a lot of my time recently has been devoted to learning her playstyle. But as much fun as I'm having brawling at the front, there is just something about seeing my friend go flying across the map as Spider-Man just to maybe land a hit, so I had to follow in his footsteps. As I started learning him, it took me almost no time at all to realize why everyone online was saying that learning Spider-Man is not for the weak. He's extremely difficult, and it kind of makes me less mad at all the times I've died to him, but only a little bit. Just to feel confident enough to hop into quick play, I spent hours in the range learning combos, getting the swing of movement, and tweaking settings. And even then, when I did hop into a match, the result was way less than impressive.
No!
In every fight or situation, I was messing something up, and he has very little room for error. He has pretty low HP and almost no defensive abilities, so his movement is one of the most important parts about playing him well, and I was definitely not good at that. After struggling some more, I hopped into the range with my friend and we started going over combos, movement, text, animation cancels, everything. There was so much more to learning him than I thought, but the change of pace from sweating in comp was enough to make me want to stay in practice. Rivals is great at creating an environment and situations that are exciting to experience with friends, so it was interesting taking a step back from the action and working on perfecting things while hanging out and talking about it all with my friend. And that's really cool because we've been friends forever, and now suddenly there was something brand new to talk about and enjoy together. Through all the chaos and competition in these titles, they give us something new to experience together. Kingdom 2 Crowns is incredible at creating situations where we see the value in communication and support, and Rivals and Fortnite do that just as well, but more specifically, these big multiplayer titles, at least in my own life, have created so much connection through everything we learn from each other. When my wife first started learning how to play Fortnite, she was so hooked.
Oh my gosh.
The closest thing she'd ever played to a shooter was taking down balloons in Animal Crossing, so Fortnite provided the perfect entry point.
You're like, she's so bad, she's so bad. Number one, yes, I am.
As we began playing together, everything was new to her. She needed and wanted guidance on weapons, strategies, gunfights, callouts. Everything there was to know, she wanted to know it. My friends and I were always more than happy to explain it all, and it was fun being able to share everything we had ever learned in playing together.
We push together. Nice, man.
Come on, let's go.
Let's go. Rush him.
And eventually, through game after game, season after season, and conversation after conversation, she was objectively really good at the game, an S-tier duo. Unfortunately, her expertise arrived just in time for me to be replaced, Because after playing just a few games of Fortnite on my wife's PS5, one of her best friends went to Best Buy a couple weeks later and bought a PS5 just to play Fortnite with her. And also Minecraft. But now we all play together regularly, and I've seen my wife teach everything I showed her to her friend. Getting a party together full of my friends and my wife and hers has reminded me of the good that's come from sharing our different interests and everything we know about them with each other. I wouldn't play with the people I play with every week if I never took the time and helped teach my wife something she was only kind of interested in at the time. And because of something as simple as taking the time to slow down and show my wife a new game, she has a new favorite way to connect and share experiences with her friends.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Clip that! Clip that!
The benefits of learning from one another are tied directly to how intentional we choose to be. It feels like an abrupt stop when we realize our own experience or our own knowledge won't take us any further. It's frustrating, but rather than a door slammed shut, the end of our experience offers an invitation to lean into those around us. And yeah, learning from each other can take a long time. It took months for my wife to be able to hold her own in Fortnite, just like it's taken me weeks to even get remotely decent as Spider-Man. The quality of my relationships wouldn't be nearly as rich if me or my friends just tried rushing the process anytime there was some kind of learning curve. I think it's stupid that after all of this, I'm still pretty bad as Spider-Man. But as long as I need help and as long as I need to continue learning, my relationships will always be deepened because of it. In any of these titles, the idea of pressure or stress is intensified greatly when success is the measure of progress. So how important is success in creating these moments of connection? Most of the time, what we work for as a team in co-op or multiplayer titles is winning. And depending on the game, winning gets us XP, cosmetics, a new rank, and in general, success usually means moving forward. Winning with our team is extremely important to enjoying the experience when these are the things we play for. In this, our time, energy, and effort is rewarded. But in the context of relationships, winning often means more than this, especially in thinking about games where freedom and individual playstyle are front and center. Winning here rewards our individual effort. Playing games that place a heavy emphasis on playstyle, representing ourselves, and what makes us unique means that all of that is on display when we win.
Believe.
And it can sometimes lead to feeling like who we are, that it's appreciated by the people we play with.
I did not know that.
No one contributed exactly the way we did, and like Split Fiction, there's value in that. Our contribution to success leads to connection by feeling seen when it's appreciated or recognized.
Hi, Noah.
Get them all dipped. Let's go.
Counterintuitively, this brings me right back to Stardew Valley. Connection happens here away from success because it feels similar to sitting with a good friend or roommate. It's restful because it's about the company. Games are great at creating restful environments because in these quiet moments, there's still small tasks that engage our attention and provide a means to connect to those we're with. If no one is there to acknowledge how much money I just got from my pumpkins, it feels like something is just missing from the experience. Feeling seen by our friends and by the people we're closest to ends up being the most important parts about these games. Time spent together building, fishing, resting, and enjoying each other's company is a priority, and gaming becomes the means. Working towards a common goal together away from stress, pressure, and success all provide a different experience than competitive titles, but one that's just as foundational. It's through these games where success is less important that we see one of the biggest draws of co-op and multiplayer gaming. Enjoying our time despite winning or losing helps us scope out and see the bigger picture. Games encourage our individual expression, and by playing with the people we care about, we're offered an opportunity to see parts of who they are. Knowing and being known in return is essential to the growth and development of our relationships, and it's in this way that games thrive in bringing us together. They help remind us that we can't do everything on our own, and how much good comes from being in community and around people that care enough about us to step into pressure together. Pressure rids our relationships of comfortability and being so familiar with something that we forget its value. Playing together through different seasons of life shows us that lasting, intentional, And good relationships take time, no matter the type of relationship. In sharing experiences and working together, they shift the focus off of ourselves and onto our friends. Effort is required to communicate and to use our differences in order to work together and progress. The value of our presence in this process often leads us to vulnerability. This isn't bad, rather it's one of my favorite parts about games, and shows that when intentional, time spent together in stress or in rest can lead to real connection. It's how we're sometimes able to find the most real things in our lives being made in a setting so far from reality. So if you think about any of your favorite games, there are moments that are just going to stand out. Some are able to leave a lasting impact right away, and thankfully, there are also those whose impact is magnified greatly when we're intentional about them with others. In either case, truly great games help us slow down and experience them with others, creating valuable relationships in the process and keeping us from falling away from the things that matter most.